Hello, everybody out there in Viewerland. My name is Master Sergeant George Father, and I am part of the United States Air Force Band of the West down in Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio, Texas. Thank you all so very much for tuning in with us today. I am joined today by Senior Airman Jason Galbraith, Senior Airman Tim Guidry, and Senior Airman Edward Dr. Knekel.
Hey,
everyone say hey.
Hey.
It's our great pleasure to be joining you today for this live broadcast. We've got samples from all of our different performing ensembles that we'd like to share with you today. And the goal for us is really to have an interactive experience with you. So as you've got questions, pop them into the chat and we'll respond to your questions and really just have a great time experiencing music together. The first segment obviously was our anthem. We were joined by our honor guard. They did just a fantastic job, and they always do, and that's how we like to start all of our performances. So always great to have the honor guard with us. And first, I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm from Albany, New York, where we're kind of used to winters, used to having snow. Never in my life did I thought I'd see snow in Texas, but last week was a heck of a week. So my kids loved it. They got to build I think my daughter, her first snowman ever. She got to build her first snowman in Texas of all places. So she dug it. But we're happy to have our warm weather back this week. It's a balmy 75 out here in San Antonio. So glad to have that weather back. I've been in the Air Force for 15 years. I've been lucky enough to have been stationed all around the world, 5 different duty locations, and I'm happy to be with all of you here today. We're going to kick it off since it's so much fun to hear jazz music. We're going to kick it off with one of our favorites, Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy. So I hope you enjoy this next tune.
Chicago way. He had a boogie style that no one else could play. He was the top man at his craft, but then his number came up and he was gone with the draft. He's in the army now, a blowing reveille. He's the Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy from Company B. They made him blow his bugle for his Uncle Sam. It really brought him down because he couldn't jam. The captain seemed to understand, because the next day the cap went out and drafted a band, and now the company jumps when he plays reveille. He's the Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy of Company B. A toot, a toot, toot. He blows 8 to the bar. In boogie rhythm, can't blow a note unless a bass and guitar are playing with him. And the company jumps when he plays reveille. He's the Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy of Company B. He was the Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy of Company B. And when he plays Boogie Woogie Bugle, he was busy as a bee. And when he plays, makes the company jump 8 to the bar. He's a Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy from Company B. Do he blows it to the bar. He can't blow a note unless the rhythm and bass is with him. And the company drops when he plays rapidly. He's the Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy of Company B. He puts the boys to sleep with Boogie every night and wakes them up the same way in the early light. They clap their hands and stamp their feet, cause they know how he blows when someone gives him a beat. Wow, he wakes them up when he plays reveille. He's the Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy from Company B. A toot, he blows at 8 to the bar. Can't blow a note if a bass and guitar is wow with him. And the company jumps when he plays reveille. He's the Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy from Company B.
Awesome. Well, that piece, Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy from Company D, featured our own Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy. Say hey, Tim.
Hi. How are y'all doing? Glad you could be with us today.
Tim, so tell them a little bit about yourself. How long you been in the Air Force? Where are you from and all that?
Well, I just passed 4 years in the Air Force Band here. This is my first assignment, so I've been here for all those 4 years. I'm originally from Louisiana, but my dad was in the Air Force Bands as well. So I sort of grew up in this environment a little bit. Know a little bit about it, but always learning more by the day. So got to move around quite a bit, got to live in Germany for a couple of years. And yeah, I couldn't ask for a better job.
Yeah, I agree. It's an awesome gig. We're super lucky to have you, Tim. You sound great, man.
Thank you.
I've seen a few other folks post in on the comments that they're tuning in from Louisiana. So you've got some kindred spirits joining us today. I actually saw my cousin pop in. Hey, Pamela, nice to see you joining us from Albany. Very cool to have you on in the show. How about you, Dr. Kneckel? Tell us a little bit about where you're from.
Oh, well, I'm just a senior airman, Master Sergeant Father. So, but I'm from Connecticut, Hartford, Connecticut, and this is my 4th year with Band of the West. This is also my first assignment as an active duty musician. I came from 8 years in the Army National Guard as a musician, and I was in Connecticut, DC, and Virginia. And this Band of the West has musicality second to none. So it's been a pleasure.
It's great to have you on the team, Ed. And last but not least, I guess. Words are hard. How about you, Jason? Tell us a little bit about yourself. Jason, you're muted.
Technology. What can I say? I'm from a very small town in California called Placerville. I've been with the Band of the West going on 6 years now. It's like Senior Airman Kneckel said, it's a wonderful group of musicians, and I couldn't be happier where I am. This is my first duty location, and just living the dream here in San Antonio.
Yeah, so it's so great to have you all with us. And Jason, you haven't really got to hear a lot of him yet, but he's a monster saxophonist, and we're so fortunate to have him on the team with us. He's also my musical director, so does a great job putting our shows together. And this, like I said, we're super lucky to have you. We're gonna move on a little bit to the next tune, and that is this one's kind of hot off the presses. I think this one's only been completed for the last couple of weeks, and this is Pineapple Rag, composed by the famous Scott Joplin, performed by our very own, one of our 2 woodwind quintets. This is Spectrum Winds, so I hope you enjoy their rendition of Pineapple Rag. thanks for the comments in there. We think it's pretty cute too. I know someone had popped in there that it's a cute piece, and we've got a really great set of videographers on our team that help put these things together. Very lucky to have. There's like a team of 4 people that we have that put all these videos together, and it's a labor-intensive, time-consuming thing to do, and they really just do such a fantastic job in it. We also had a question in the chat about Jason's favorite saxophone, so I'm going to hand it over to Jason to tell us which one's his favorite.
Well, without a doubt, tenor saxophone is my favorite, but lately I've been dabbling in baritone saxophone.
Why is that, Jason?
There is a vacancy with the esteemed Airman of Note in Washington, D.C., and I was fortunate enough to go out for an audition for that. So many months of baritone saxophone for me.
Yeah, and like I said, another good question. How long have you been playing, Jason?
Oof. I think I calculated out the other day, 21 years.
Wow.
That's a lot of saxophoning.
So Jason started when he was about 3 months old.
Yes, start them when they're young, right?
That's right. That's a great question, though. As y'all get any more questions like that, please pop them into the chat, and yeah, we love to talk about ourselves. It's fun. I've been playing the trombone. I started trombone in 10th grade, pretty late for most of us, but I actually started on euphonium in middle school because everyone says euphonium's the easiest instrument in the world to learn, next to saxophone, of course.
Of course.
So I guess I've been playing for 35 years or so, which is pretty crazy to think about. How about the rest of you guys? Tim, when did you start?
I think so. I would have started around 10 or 11. And I'm 27 now, so 16, 17 years. Although I started on French horn, but sort of, I guess, similar way of thinking to you, Sergeant Father. It was too hard. So I had messed around with the trumpet a little bit and realized, wow, this is a lot easier. I should play this one. So that's why I chose it.
Ed stuck to his guns, the hard instruments. So how long have you been playing piano, Ed?
Yeah, I probably started when I was about first or second grade, I'd say, pretty young there. I mean, it helped that my mom was a piano teacher. So it was kind of, one of the, we didn't really have many options. So in the house, you kind of had to follow her lead. But I think I really started loving, I think I was introduced to a lot of music, even, in utero. My mom was a DJ at a famous radio station in Dallas. So I kind of grew up with a lot of 70s music vibrations kind of coming through the womb when I was little. So maybe that helped.
That's why you're so funky when you play.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Funky's one word for it.
Oh, great questions. Great questions. The next thing we're going to do is show you a little bit of our other woodwind quintet, Night Watch. And COVID's been tough on a lot of us, especially we all miss going out and doing live gigs and being able to do this kind of an interaction in person with you. That's really our favorite thing to do and why most of us join the job and stay in the job. But there have been some really creative things that have come out of this. One is us growing this third arm of video production, putting these videos together, and it's allowed our performance teams to kind of expand and collaborate with other folks that they normally wouldn't get to do. And this next piece, Un Poco Loco, from the movie Coco, it's a lot of Ocos on that. It's our woodwind quintet really branched out and included a rhythm section and a singer, and they did a wonderful job putting this together. So before I turn that over, I would love to know if any of you have gotten to see the Band of the West in concert and where you might have seen us. It'd be cool to see if any of you have gotten to see us play. So I'll turn it on to the next tune.
I'm your Maud, I'm your Maud. You tell me that it's red, I'm your Maud, I'm your Maud. Where should I put my shoes? I'm your Maud, I'm your Maud. You say put them on your head, I'm your Maud, I'm your Maud. You make me un poco loco, un poquitito loco. The way you keep me guessing, I'm nodding and I'm yesing. I count it as a blessing that I'm only un poco loco. That you make me, it is just un poco crazy. The sense that you're not making, the liberties you're taking, leaves my cup ever shaking. You are just un poco loco. Un poquitito loco.
Yes, so fun to watch our artists collaborate. If you're just tuning in, we are the United States Air Force Band of the West, stationed down in San Antonio, Texas, and I'm Master Sergeant George Father, trombonist in the band, and happy to be with you all today. We had a question in the chat about what do we use what software do we use as we're putting the videos together, and mostly we use Adobe Premiere and After Effects to put all these together. And they've, like I mentioned before, they do such a wonderful job. It's it's a labor of love putting these things together. Many, many hours go into putting each of these videos together, and our team does a wonderful job. But thanks for the question. We really appreciate it. I know that I personally have gotten to do some of that kind of work, and you're actually going to see it in this next video. I did all the prep for this next work at home. Most of us are recording at home these days because of the COVID restrictions. So we've got little studios set up. I don't know if I can move my computer around to show you, but I've got microphones there and a room full of instruments all set up here just in my, I'll call it studio office, so that we can put all these projects together for everyone to see. The next piece is no exception. I recorded all the parts myself. I arranged the tune, and I put I mixed and mastered all the audio, but Staff Sergeant Bobby Wolf put the video together for me, and he did a wonderful job. And this piece is by John Williams, Cadillac of the Skies. And there's a few reasons why I chose this piece. One is because John Williams is a large reason why I even got into music. At a young age, I was hipped to the Boston Pops. And at that time, he was the conductor of the Boston Pops. And they did a lot of his music, Jaws, Indiana Jones, all the Star Wars stuff. And as a trombonist, it just blew my mind. It was like, oh my God, this stuff is amazing. I always said someday I want to play that music. And I've been fortunate to have subbed in a lot of orchestras across the country and gotten to do it. But I'd never gotten to play Cadillac of the Skies. And it's such a beautiful piece. I thought that this is an opportunity for me to arrange it and get to perform it. The other reason is because it's about the P-51 Mustang, P-51D Mustang, a famous plane from World War II, fighter plane that was flown primarily by the Tuskegee Airmen. So those things just fit really well together for me, and I wanted to pay tribute to them through this beautiful music. So if you've got any questions about how I put any of that together, just pop them into the comments, and and I'll try my best to answer. But anyways, I hope you all enjoy Cadillac of the Skies. Thanks for all the nice comments. I really appreciate it. It's always been one of my favorite pieces, and it's really a pleasure to get to share that with you all. I'd like to give a couple shout outs. One is retired Chief Master Sergeant Homan, a former band manager here with the Band of the West. Thanks for joining us today. And I've got my Aunt Maureen Sherwin on the video too. So, hey, Auntie, great to have you with me. Really appreciate you popping on. Hi, Q Sharp, Jamie. So someone was wondering what the highest note I played in that piece was, and it's a high F sharp, which is I've been a while since I had to play that high, but I like to torture myself. I wrote it. I guess I had to play it. Speaking of torturing ourselves, I'd like to turn it over to our saxophonist, Senior Airman Galbraith.
So what? Now I get to torture the audience? Is that what this is about? Well, that was a beautiful rendition. Something that Sergeant Father, or you might not realize, is that as you build these things, it's hard to make them multidimensional. And the fact that you're playing, the first track that you lay down, you have to be right on the dynamics and the articulation, and then you build, and everything that comes after that, creates it. When you play live music, you're able to interact with the instrumentation and the musicians around you. So the fact that had so much passion and emotion really speaks to the artistry that Sergeant Father put into each of those parts from the ground up to really build such a wonderful piece. There's been some comments in the chat about the technology and what a cool use of technology, and I couldn't agree more. There's been quite a learning curve, but it's rewarding for us to put our music out there as musicians. And as musicians in the Air Force, we have the privilege of representing the Air Force at large through things like this. And our use of technology is just a drop in the bucket compared to what the rest of the Air Force does in terms of, maximizing and capitalizing on the technology available to us today. So, what you just saw Sergeant Father do, I think, is just a true testament to what the Air Force across the board is doing in terms of being innovative, especially during this COVID season. I hear stories all the time from fellow Air Force members on how they streamlined a process or had to, kind of come up with a workaround. And so we're privileged as musicians in the band to kind of showcase what we do as a way of mirroring what the rest of the Air Force does. So we're going to go ahead and continue on with a tune by Mission Winds, our clarinet quartet. Hopefully you'll enjoy this one as much as I do. This one's entitled Contradanza. Well, if you liked that one, which I sure did, please let us know in the comments. We enjoy bringing this music to you. If you're tuning in, we are the Band of the West, stationed here at Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio, Texas. We're going to go ahead and continue on. This next tune is a partnership that was done with the Peruvian Air Force, and it features our very own clarinetist, Technical Sergeant Denise Cardona Santos. kind of sitting in virtually, if you will, with the Peruvian Air Force. So this one's entitled Estreño Festejo.
Hey, thanks for tuning in with us. We are the United States Air Force Band of the West down in San Antonio. It's great to have you all on, especially if you're just joining us. My name is Master Sergeant George Father, trombonist in the band. You just saw a great partnership between the Peruvian Air Force Band and our Air Force Band. Technical Sergeant Denise Cardona, a clarinetist, originally from Puerto Rico, the Latin connection, keeping it all together. We actually had a question in the audience that I'm going to toss over to Senior Airman Tim Guidry, an equipment question. Tim, tell them about all the amazing lead trumpet playing you get to do and what you do it on.
Yeah, so I'm not really much of an equipment guy, mostly because I have to keep my playing simple, because I'm a simple-minded person, and that's the easiest way for me to play is by keeping things simple. But it depends on which group I'm in. and what kind of music we're playing. So if I'm in the concert band and I'm playing in a section, I'll be using more of a deeper mouthpiece for a more warm, bigger tone. But when we're playing in the jazz band, I use a shallower, what I guess you would call a lead mouthpiece, mostly to match with the sound of our lead player, Master Sergeant Shane Kibbe. And actually, I was just in the studio the other day recording for one of our jazz band recordings that will be coming out hopefully soon. And I had picked one mouthpiece to record in, and after listening back to it with Shane combined, I realized that even though it was for the most part in tune with him, the difference in the tone they just didn't match up and they didn't meld. So I ended up using a lead mouthpiece, even for things that aren't necessarily lead parts and high playing. So yeah, the answer is sometimes.
Thanks, Tim. That's I can relate. Same kind of thing in the trombone section. It just kind of depends on what they're asking me to do. On most of the jazz band stuff, I play bass trombone, so I'm laying down the bottom of the band, and that's a whole different set of equipment. Really big mouthpiece to get the deep growl sounds and everything. But when I'm playing in the concert band, I definitely use whatever equipment is just going to blend best with the band. I imagine, Jason, it's similar for you, switching between all the saxophones.
It is a funny story. Chief Homan was the one that was on my audition panel, and I hadn't really played much classical saxophone up until I got this gig. And I was playing the classical Ebsgert on my audition on this really loud metal mouthpiece. And Chief after said, you might think about using like a classical mouthpiece for the classical stuff. And mind blown. So yeah, definitely different equipment for different situations.
Thanks for that question. We appreciate it. It's so cool. Like, the band has such a cool mission. It kind of breaks down into 3 parts: honor, inspire, and connect. We try to do all 3 at every concert. Honor by paying tribute to our veterans and those who are serving in active duty. Inspire, hopefully we're playing music that inspires all of our listeners. That's one of our main goals at every concert, is to play at such a high level that it really hits you in the E-bone. And then connect. We want to connect with everyone on a personal level. After every show, we go out and we shake hands with the audience members, and we try to get to know everyone that we can when we're out on the road. That's why this is so cool, with you all being able to write in comments and questions and us being able to answer. It's as close, I think, as we're going to get for now to being in the live environment. So we really appreciate all the interaction that you all are giving us. With the connect part of it, one of the coolest experiences that I've had are my overseas experiences. I had one tour in PACAF, or the Pacific Air Forces, where I toured all over Asia, all the way down to Australia even. And then the other was in Europe and Africa. I had 4 years in Europe, where we toured all of Europe and all of Africa. And we would do what they call these building partnership missions, where we go and we work with another country's embassy, so that we work together to build stronger bonds between our countries. And music is just the perfect vehicle to do all of that. Everybody speaks the language of music, and it just, we're able to connect on that deep, meaningful level with all that. The other one that I'd like to mention is doing our school concerts. We do a bunch of school engagements throughout the year, most notably Red Ribbon Week, where we're giving the message to all the schools to leave a clean life and stay off of drugs. And we do that through our music. And it's the same thing. We're trying to inspire those young students and connect with them through that messaging. And one of the groups that does that most often for us is our rock band. So this next song was tailored for these students for that show, for our Red Ribbon Week. and I hope you enjoy Top Flight's rendition of Break My Heart.
I've always been the one to say the first goodbye. Had to love and lose 100 million times. Had to get it wrong to know just what I like. Now I'm falling. You say my name like I had never heard before. I'm indecisive, but this time I know for sure. Hope I'm not the only one that feels it all. Are you falling? Center of attention, you know you can get whatever you want from me. Whenever you want it, baby. It's you and my reflection. I'm afraid of all the things it could do to me. If I would've known it, baby, I would've stayed at home. 'Cause I was doing better alone. But when you said hello, I know that was the end of it all. I should have stayed at home. 'Cause now that I'm letting you go, am I falling in love with the one that could break my heart? Oh no, I was doing better alone. But when you said hello, I know that was the end of it all. I should have stayed at home. 'Cause now that I'm letting you go, am I falling in love with the one that could break my heart? I wonder when you go if I stay on your mind. Two can play that game, but you win me every time. Everyone before you was a waste of time. Yeah, you got me. Center of attention, you know you can get whatever you want from me. Whenever you want it, baby. It's you and my reflection. I'm afraid of all the things it could do to me. If I would've known it, baby, I would've stayed at home. 'Cause I was doing better alone. But when you said hello, I know that was the end of it all. I should have stayed at home. 'Cause now that I'm letting you go, am I falling in love with the one that could break my heart? Oh no, I was doing better alone. But when you said hello, I know that was the end of it all. I should have stayed at home. 'Cause now that I'm letting you go, am I falling in love with the one that could break my heart? Break my heart. Break my heart. Am I falling in love with the one that could break my heart? I would've stayed at home. 'Cause I was doing better alone. But when you said hello, I know that was the end of it all. I should have stayed at home. 'Cause now that I'm letting you go, am I falling in love with the one that could break my heart? Oh no, I was doing better alone. But when you said hello, I know that was the end of it all. I should have stayed at home. 'Cause now there ain't no letting you go. Am I falling in love with the one that could break my heart?
Hey everybody! Before I turn it over to my esteemed colleague Ed, I wanted to have Jason a chance to talk about his amazing bass playing in the last video. Jason is an incredibly talented individual. Jason, just for the heck of it, tell him all the different instruments you've played for an Air Force gig.
Oh, for an Air Force gig? Like at one time, like one gig?
No,
Or
just in general.
Okay. Well, flute, clarinet, saxophones, all of them. Guitar, bass. I think that about covers it.
Iwi.
Oh, thank you.
Hard to forget the iwi.
Electronic
Yeah.
wind instrument.
They say that versatility is the key to air power, and really Jason demonstrates that extremely well. We're very lucky to have him in all his talents.
Well, thank you.
I'm going to hand it over to Ed now. He's going to say hey and talk a little bit.
Mhm. Well, hey everybody. So, yeah, I'm glad you guys noticed the multi-instrumentalist power of Senior Airman Jason Galbraith on that last one. I also want to say that, talking about the technology aspect of it, Staff Sergeant Cody Peterson, you'll see him over there on the keyboards there. He's got the double rack, utilizes a Nord and a Korg Kronos, and there's a lot of stuff going on in addition to the layers that you're seeing. You may be hearing some backing tracks there, some extra synthesized sounds, some pads going on. Cody Peterson goes real deep into making sure that there are lots of backing tracks. He's using MainStage as well as sequencing programs. And Top Flight is just so phenomenal at trying to replicate as well as provide their own arrangements to popular songs that are going to resonate with a lot of the different kinds of audiences that they perform for. So it's just a fantastic band. I'm glad you loved the voice there, Miss Sherwin, of Senior Airman Courtney Woods. She's from Rhode Island, which was just the state next to mine, the one that I grew up in. Fantastic talent. She was touring New England with some theater groups, and so glad to have her in the Air Force here. And I just wanted to make a shout out to my family, Kimberly Hester over there in Palm City and Jensen Beach area of Florida. So Kim, my sister, thanks for tuning in. So good to see you there. So this next track I want to make a segue over for is going to feature the group called Freedom Brass. They're the brass group that is one of the ensembles, the many ensembles like you're getting to see this afternoon from that represent the Band of the West. And they are going to be performing an homage to the national parks. This is an arrangement by Staff Sergeant Justice McKenzie. It's of the song from the 1979 movie, The Muppet Movie. And we hope that you enjoy this arrangement. And we would love to hear maybe some of your favorite memories of going to national parks yourselves. Or as the video unfolds, is there a national park that's listed that just really catches your eye and gets put on your bucket list? So we would love to hear about that through the course of this next video of The Rainbow Connection.
Walk away quietly in any direction and taste the freedom of the mountaineer. Camp out among the grass and gentians of glacier meadows, in craggy garden nooks full of nature's darlings. Climb the mountains and get their good tidings. Nature's peace will flow into you as sunshine flows into trees. The winds will blow their freshness into you, in the storms their energy, while cares will drop off like autumn leaves. As age comes on, one source of enjoyment after another's closed, but nature's sources never fail.
Well, from the comments, it looks like everyone really enjoyed that arrangement, and I just have to make sure that we give credit where credit is due. That was a beautiful arrangement by Staff Sergeant Justice McKenzie, who is our staff arranger. We're so lucky to have someone who can write music at such a high professional level and not just get the job done, but bring a lot of artistry to his arrangements as well. So. And some great memories there. Tomas, yeah, I went to El Yunque as well when I was in Puerto Rico, and then went down to the bioluminescent lagoons there at night, kind of snuck in with some family members. And wow, what a wonder of the world El Yunque and Puerto Rico offer everybody. So if you haven't gone down to the bioluminescent dune, definitely go down there and take a swim. Yellowstone National Park as well as there. And yeah, that's an incredible. A lot of music has been written about national parks and favorite Muppet characters. So you see some Kermit's animals. Fantastic. Jason, do you want to take a minute? Someone was asking about this mysterious creation called the iwi. Can you tell us just a little bit about that?
I can. I went and grabbed it on the break in case it came up. So this is an iwi. It's an electronic wind instrument. That's what EWI stands for. Basically, it's like a keyboard with saxophone fingerings. So I can give keyboard players like Senior Airman Kneckel a run for their money.
Yeah. It's always been very startling to start hearing two pianos all of a sudden in the middle of our gig. So. But yeah, that's great. Awesome, Jason. Thanks so much for sharing that. John Muir, you would have heard how I narrated a letter by him. He's pretty much known as the patron saint of national parks. He was actually fundamental in establishing Yellowstone as one of the parks. And he had mentioned that the national parks are places for us to heal and cheer ourselves, to find strength for our souls. And, there was a survey by the National Endowment of the Arts, and it showed that more than 80% of people in our country think that music does the same thing. So in a way, music is the rainbow connection as well. And, if you want to be part of, the energy that the Band of the West and the Air Force bands demonstrate through music, the healing power of bringing communities together, of honoring those who have served, who have served, who are serving now overseas. We would love to hear from you. So we have vacancies for instrumental positions. We have vacancies for vocalist positions and for audio engineers. And if you're between the ages of 18 and 39 and you think you have what it takes to join the Air Force bands, please go over to the website, which is www.music.af.mil, and click on upcoming vacancies. You will find a whole list of auditions that are slated for the Air Force Airfield. And we would love to hear from you. We'd love to see what great talent is out there that can continue the mission of the Air Force bands in our country and abroad. Master Sergeant George Father mentioned some of the international experiences that he's had, where music is able to bring people together from different cultures, different parts of the world. It has an incredible influential power in humanity, and we're just so thankful to be doing this as our principal job, and it's what a blessing it is. Let's segue over to another part of the Air Force that sometimes doesn't get a lot of credit, which is the group called the maintainers. And these men and women are responsible for making sure that those planes are checked on, that they're running, that they have, and they meet all of those high professional standards of both being maintained and repaired. And this is an arrangement by one of our own. He actually just received a fantastic award as Musician of the Year. It's Tech Sergeant Nick Daniels. He is a vocalist. He's a guitar player, a singer, songwriter extraordinaire, amazing talent. We hope that you will enjoy this song that he wrote called One. And it's in tribute to the Air Force maintainers that are keeping those planes flying every day.
When I left home, I left it all. I left my family, my friends, those long weekends. I left it all to give myself a better chance to prove I'm who I say I am. Left it all. When I left, there was no going back. Said goodbye, kissed my mama on the cheek, and I looked my daddy straight in his eye. I said, this is my life, and I'm gonna do something. Gonna give it my all and be who I can be, and show the world just what I see. Left it all. I'm working all week and making ends meet. I'm down here breaking my back every day so you know my name. And when it's all done, I'll be the only one. I'm gonna shine brighter than any other light in this great big sky.
The cost of freedom is always high, but Americans have always paid it. And one path we shall never choose, and that is the path of surrender.
You are about to embark upon the great crusade. The eyes of the world are upon you. The hopes and prayers of liberty-loving people everywhere march with you.
I'm working all week and making ends meet. I'm down here breaking my back every day so you know my name. And when it's all done, I'll be the only one. I'm gonna shine brighter than any other light in this great big sky. I'm gonna shine brighter than any other light in this great big sky.
What a great video by Technical Sergeant Nick Daniels. Another extremely talented guy. He performed all the instruments in that video, the bass, the guitar parts, the drums, and of course singing. So we're just, as Jason said before, we just have so many incredibly talented folks that join the Air Force bands, and it's one of the reasons, another one of the main reasons why I love this job so much, getting to work with so many talented people, and of course representing that talent, which is mirrored across the Air Force, all the different jobs from the maintainers to every facet of the Air Force. It's that same level of talent that you can see across the force. that particular video has a lot of meaning to me because my brother's a crew chief, Nick Father. He's been serving the Air Force for 21 years as a crew chief. He's on remote assignment now in Turkey, so he had to leave his family home for an 18-month tour to Turkey. So they really do go above and beyond to make sure the force functions and we can get the mission done. So if you know any maintainers out there, give them a big hug and high five and all the warm feels, because they do incredible work on behalf of the country. Yeah. There was a question that came up through the feed of what's your favorite video? And man, that's a hard question to answer because you're right, there are so many videos, and I got to be honest, usually it's the ones that we're working on that are coming up next, at least for me. We've got two right now that we're working on that I know of, at least that I'm a part of. One is the jazz band is working on putting together a tribute to Sammy Nestico, who passed away recently. Jason is doing an amazing job putting all that together. As I mentioned before, he's my musical director, so he gets all the raw parts that each of us records, and he's got to figure out how to put it together, and then he'll send it on to our audio engineer to mix and master for that part of it. And then all that goes to the video editors to sync it to video. So I'm really looking forward to that. And then there's another video that's close to done, and it's a tribute to the end of Desert Storm. Desert Storm ended 30 years ago today. Hard to imagine that, but 30 years has gone by, and we're putting together a great tribute to the folks who fought in Desert Storm. How about you? I'll toss it over to Ed first. Got any favorites?
Sure. Well, Carol, I'm going to go out on a limb. I want to try to say your last name, actually, Carol. Is it Grzelczyk? I'm just curious. Give me a thumbs up or down if I'm even close there. I grew up near a town called New Britain, and I don't know if there's a Polish element to your name there, but they called it New Britsky for a reason. So maybe I'm close. Let me know. Let me see. Grzelczyk. Okay, Grzelczyk. Carol Grzelczyk. Well, I think, Carol, beyond some of the video productions, I think just some of the performances that I've been in really come to mind. There's one in particular, and I didn't even play a single note in it. It was at a special needs facility here in San Antonio, and I just went as a volunteer. I wore my uniform. There were mostly woodwind players there, and my job was really just to talk to they're older kids, all special needs of varying degrees across the spectrum. And I tell you, I was just sitting in there making friends, and they looked at me and they saw my uniform, and it seemed like I was the most incredible person they'd ever seen. I came in as an Air Force representative, and that was so touching that I could just be there, be with them, represent the Air Force, and create a relationship with them so that they understood that their Air Force, is there for them in this small, maybe insignificant place in a lot of people's eyes. But for me, it was an extremely significant event, and I loved every minute being there. So that was just a real special time.
How about you, Jason?
I was hoping you wouldn't ask. There are so many. I think the projects that I've been a part of musically, it's always kind of fun to see how the music affects the visual and what the final product comes up with. So DIB Dimensions and Blue Art Jazz Ensemble, of which I'm music director, we put together a production for Veterans Day, and I had a pretty heavy hand in that. So probably one of those videos, just because I was able to see how the music and the video coalesced into the final product.
Yeah, and you'll actually get to see Jason's work on that near the end of the show. He's one of the songs from that Vets Day production is near the end, so stay tuned. Tim, you got a favorite?
Yeah, I was trying to think while the last song was playing, what would be my favorite, because we were actually talking before we went live about how sometimes a lot of the videos that we put out can sometimes blend together a little bit when we're working a lot. But I think my favorite is when we did 12 Days of Christmas 2 years ago. Mostly because it maybe reminds me of a different time when we were all together and playing music, and we did that. It was also the beginning of this sort of new age of video making that we've started for the Band of the West, and so it was a cool time to see what kind of products we had the potential to be creating. So I have good memories from that. I think I'll keep us going along here. I saw my mom is watching. Hi, Mom. I'll talk to you later tonight. Love you. So I think we had said this earlier in the broadcast, but the mission of the Band of the West and for all Air Force bands is to honor, inspire, and connect. And the most important part of our mission is to honor our veterans and those who came before us, those who died. Oh, hi, Dad. Hi, Dad. Love you. To honor those who came before us and those who died fighting for our country. And as a trumpet player, that's a part of the job that is very special to me because I have the honor of playing taps at our local cemetery, our local military cemetery here for fallen heroes. So it's the most important part of our job, and it's always an honor to be able to do that. And every once in a while, we have the honor of being able to be a part of the funerals of presidents. And in fact, two years ago, when George H.W. Bush passed away, we had the honor of participating in that. And I was wondering, I think, Sergeant Father, you were a part of that. Are there any memories from that are special to you?
I actually had just missed it. I was PCSing or moving from Germany back to the States, but I have a similar one. I got to do the funeral service for President Gerald Ford, and it really is a hard thing to explain unless you've been a part of one of those. The being able to play that kind of honor that kind of person's life and that kind of dignitary of president is just something that most people will never have that kind of experience, and you just never forget doing it.
Yeah, it's when you're a part of such a big machine, you really get a sense for just how much is going into honoring this, this great man that led our country for those years. So going with this theme of our mission of honoring those who came before us, the next song that we have for you is another John Williams piece from the famous movie Saving Private Ryan. This is Hymn to the Fallen by Night Watch.
My name is Master Sergeant Jorge Cortijo, and I was a member of the United States Air Force Honor Guard from 2006 to 2011. The mission of the Air Force Honor Guard is to represent airmen to the American public and the world. A ceremonial guardsman's primary mission is to provide military funeral honors at Arlington National Cemetery. As a body bearer, I had the rare privilege to lay to rest our comrades from World War I and II, Korea and Vietnam, as well as active duty members who served in Iraq and Afghanistan. As body bearers, part of our motto is, "We will be the last to let you down." This was the most significant realization I had as a young airman serving in that capacity. You see, when you are born, your mother is the first to hold you in her arms. That person will nurture you until it is your time to nurture and develop others. When we serve in uniform, Our service is not over until our last dying breath, oftentimes long after we retire or separate. When we die, a ceremonial guardsman gets the privilege to carry our remains to its resting place. They are truly the last to hold you, the last to let you down. From the warm embrace of a mother to the final grasp of a casket, a member of our military serves unconditionally and selflessly. Memorial Day allows us to reflect on the story of each and every military member of our U.S. Armed Forces and the lives they led between that first and last embrace.
All right. So thank you for all those comments. It really, that's one of my favorite pieces from John Williams, and one of my favorite movies too. I try to make a yearly viewing of Saving Private Ryan because it's just so powerful. The movie and the music together. And you know, I'm sure we have some trumpet players out there in the chat. So if you've ever had the honor of rendering taps for a funeral for someone, let us know. We'd love to hear your story. Those are always powerful moments. So let us know in the chat if you've ever had the honor of being able to do that. So we're gonna keep it moving here. Our next song is going to be by our group, Dimensions in Blue, the jazz band here at the Band of the West. And our next song is going to be a really great arrangement of Amazing Grace.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saves a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. Oh, precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already But now I am found. Was blind, but now I see. I'm making way.
All right, how about that arrangement, huh? One of my favorites, and I love playing it. So we had a question about how many groups we have here at the Air Force Band of the West, because although we are the Band of the West, we're a unit that that contains many different groups. So we have a concert band, we have a marching band, we have a jazz band, like you just saw, which also breaks down into a jazz combo so that we can do more official events that don't require a full jazz band and probably don't want them either. So a quieter group. We have 2 rock bands. We have 2 brass quintets, 2 woodwind groups. And am I missing anything, Sergeant Father?
Clarinet quartet.
Clarinet quartet. So we're 61 people in the unit, and we have many different ways of moving around and shifting around and making different ensembles. So we try to stay versatile in that way. We're getting to my favorite part of Air Force Band concerts. Like I said earlier, my dad was a major in the Air Force bands, and I think he's still watching. Dad, give me a shout out if you are. But we're getting to my favorite part of the concert, which is a little bit maybe more interactive when we do it live. But for every Air Force Band concert, we play the Armed Service Medley. And we ask all of you out in the digital audience now, we ask all of you, if you have any fathers, mothers, if you have sisters or brothers, friends, neighbors, maybe you even adopted a service dog in a canine unit. But if you know someone who is serving, we'd love to hear who they are, what branch they are. And if you want to stand during that song, you're more than welcome to do so. Unfortunately, we can't see you, but that's how we would do it if we were in person. But what we have now for you is the Dimensions in Blue version of our Armed Services Medley.
United States Army.
United States Navy.
The United States Marine Corps.
The United States Coast Guard.
The United States Air Force.
Thanks very much to you all who've put shout outs in the chat for either your service or a loved one's service. Thanks for helping us honor all those folks. We couldn't be here doing our job today without all their service and sacrifice. So we truly stand on the shoulders of all those giants. So thanks for helping us do that. We're coming close to the end of our show, and we are and have been the United States Air Force Band of the West, stationed down in Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio, Texas. And it really has been so much fun to engage with all of you today. So thanks very much for tuning in. We're going to wrap our show up the way we do nearly every show in the Air Force, and that is with our national march, John Philip Sousa's Stars and Stripes Forever. Thanks very much for tuning in, folks.